Hey, TikTok, Jim Malone here. I am live on Dallas Trading Floor. It is a Friday, uh, July 31st, 2020. The market is kind of mixed today. We had a blowout announcement from Apple, and I kind of got snookered a little bit on my iron condor. I didn't think it would go up quite as much, so I had to move out of the trade when I heard that. So hey, can win some, lose some. But I did come back in. I bought the physical shares this morning in one of my other accounts. So pretty awesome. It's going to be a 4-to-1 split. Last time that Apple split was back in 2012, so quite a long time ago. But this is a really awesome split. It's going to be a 4-for-1. Basically, after the announcement, basically the stock shot up about $26 a share, which is a lot. It's probably going to, we're going to see it hopefully settle a little bit, and then it'll probably go up again, and then right before the split. I have put together a very kind of an interesting trading plan for this, because stock splits are kind of an interesting phenomenon. They sort of follow a very set pattern. So if you want to possibly get on board to take a look at my notes on this, when to trade Apple and, kind of at what levels, I'm putting that together right now. I have it, it's a PowerPoint. I have it in review. I don't have it ready for today, but I will have it on the Action Trade Alerts, hopefully by Saturday morning. So if you aren't already signed up for Action Trade Alerts, it's super easy. Just go to dallastradingfloor.com and put your name in. It's all free. And just subscribe, and you can cancel anytime if you like. Also, I don't think you will want to cancel, because there's a lot of good information in there, and hopefully make some money on your trades. If you're watching on TikTok, you can get on the list super easy. Just go to my profile, hit the link, and it takes you right to the page where you can sign up. And by the way, if you are looking on TikTok, great platform, but you might want to see the charts. I actually simulcast those on YouTube, and my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. I'm also on Periscope at pscp.tv/Dallas Trading Floor. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Dallas Trading Floor, and I'm on Facebook Live, so Dallas Trading Floor. So if you want to see this, all my shows are archived on YouTube, youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. So let's get to kind of some of the banners here. Well, banners, I guess that's what they're called. Basically, the market is moved above that 10,500. So the NASDAQ is definitely in an ascent. And I think that is largely due to the incredible earnings that Apple had, and of course the announcement. So I do think that if it could even be possible, I do believe that may take the NASDAQ even higher. And by the way, Apple is maybe will become the most valuable company in the world. I think it's hard to believe, but it may surpass $2 billion after this stock split is said and done. By the way, the stock split basically takes place on the 31st. So if you do have shares before the 31st, they will split 4-for-1. So if you have one share, you'll get 4. And if you have 25, you'll get 100. And if you have 100, you'll get, 400. So that's pretty good. It's a kind of an interesting thing to go. So the market is definitely in an upturn. The spider is moving up, which is good. I just took this slide a few minutes ago, and as you can see, this is the weekly chart on this. We're almost up, and this is amazing. We're almost up to the levels that it was right before the kind of the downturn happened, with the beginning of the pandemic thing. Now, I do think that we're going to see some weakness going forward. I mean, I'm just waiting for it to happen. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I can't imagine, with unfortunately all these people that are unemployed and all this unemployment, there's a lot of, the GDP has dropped a lot. So, and of course they pumped a ton of money into the into the economy, and that's buoyed up some of the stocks. But there's it's sort of like when you push air into a balloon, it's looking for that little pinhole to get out. So some of those things have been, of course, it's sort of blown up the NASDAQ, which is great if you have FANG stocks or that kind of thing. And I think it may be going into some of the gold stocks. So I do believe, we've seen, KL is up $3 today. It's been on my buy list, and I talked about it yesterday. This is a very good stock. It's a Canadian gold mining company, and they have positions. They mine both in Canada as well as in Australia. So very good company. It's up $3 today too. So I wanted to kind of point that out. I do think that there's going to be some interest in the mining stocks. Now, I am one who believes, strangely enough, I don't think that the physical gold is where you want to be. I think we want to be in the mining stocks because there's a lot of demand for the physical gold. Of course, that's limited. But I also think that some of these mining stocks can be a better way to mine gold than actually mining gold. You just mine the gold of these stocks. So there's a few of them, FNV being one of them, KL, which I like because it's under $100, excellent company. There's AU, which is a South African. I do have a less expensive one as well on the list, and that's BTG. It's under $10 stock. It's not nearly as high quality as KL or AU, but it's still pretty good. And I do think that the gold mining stocks are going to probably see some really nice movement. So just FYI there. So as I said, we move on to the Qs. The Qs are up strongly, mainly because of Apple and a few other shares. The Dow Jones, on the other hand, has seen some weakness. And of course, there's only 30 shares. There's only 30 different stocks in the Dow Jones. But interestingly enough, Apple is in the Dow Jones with Microsoft and Intel. So there is some representation of these big tech stocks. Of course, also in the Dow Jones, you have Boeing and you have Intel and those kind of companies. But the Dow Jones is basically down. It's basically moved down to the 40-day moving average. And that's how you see it. I mean, it's moved down to the 40-day moving average. It'll probably bounce off of this and hopefully move higher. But for right now, at least, it has been to the downside, $5.52, or about almost 1% down. Now, this isn't nearly as important an index as it used to be. The index that really is the important index is the S&P 500. It's what everyone is basically compared against. Now, unfortunately, my slide here kind of screwed up. So I have this kind of pasted on top of the other. But I just wanted to show you, basically, Apple did crush the numbers, and they announced a stock split. So it's basically they earned $2.58 a share, and they had, believe it or not, $59.7 billion. Please give me some of that money. And it basically, the quarter ended on June 27th, and they had predicted the earnings would be 204. They really did much. It exceeded it on a year-to-year basis, basically. Their profit margins have moved up to 11%. And of course, they announced the stock split. The stock split is going to happen on the 31st. So if you are an owner of record before this date, you will participate in the stock split. So hopefully that will be well. And if you do buy options on them, this is an interesting thing, kind of an FYI, the options will trade. Basically, all of a sudden, after the 31st, you're going to look and the options, wow, what had happened? The prices went down. Well, basically what they do, the options will split too. So if you have a contract for 100 if you have a contract for 100 shares, it will become 4 contracts as opposed to the 1 contract. So that's something you might want to kind of, read up on a little bit. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Just wanted to show you my portfolio as of today. There's some changes in it, not a lot. I still have Netflix. I will probably be selling. I know that I will be selling Netflix today. I have Teladoc Health. That will probably go today too. I have an option that looks like it's going to get called on. I just bought the Apple this morning. It's doing pretty well. I bought in. I thought I bought in a little high at 409. It's now setting for 421. So, well, you never know. Blink charging, it's down a little bit. It's really just an adjusting. It really went up yesterday. It's sort of adjusting down. I do think that hopefully it'll continue trading above the $10 mark. This just started out as one of my $10 kind of special stocks, and it's sort of done pretty good. Tesla's off, of course, a little bit. This, I don't normally say buy on weakness, but Tesla is sort of trading in a range from about the high 13s, about 1350 up to about 1550 right now. I'll probably be selling another call option on the shares that I own. Audio codes, this hasn't been, this is an option contract that I have. It has not been the best. I mean, it should perform better than that. Hopefully we'll see it move. It's past earnings. It looks like it's done pretty well, but it's a little bit weak. I don't know how long I'm going to have audio codes. I hope I have it for a while. Corvo, even though it shows here that it's down, I've done quite well with Corvo, and it's up on volume. I do have a call option though. I've pre-sold this at the 125 level, so I may be out of this, but I won't be out until the 21st of August. And then another cheapy stock that I kind of think is cool. It's a Dallas company. I'm kind of promoting the Dallas companies, it seems like. It's RVP, Retractable Technologies. This is one you might want to look at. It's not a very expensive stock. I originally came into this one about a week ago for about $9. So it's up pretty significantly, RVP. So just wanted to show you those shares. So let's get to the real meat of the matter, and that is the questions. Microsoft is looking to buy TikTok. Is that true? God, that would be great if it was. Then I'd be a rock star if that would happen. And hey, thank you everyone for looking at me on TikTok. So appreciate it. I couldn't have done it without you guys. I mean, I was really skeptical when I started this on TikTok, and it just seems to have grown tremendously. And I so appreciate it because, you really made my day. But I'm trying to branch out now and get into things that are a little bit better in terms, a little bit more, kind of more legit. I don't know, not legit. Legit is too strong a word, but I'm trying to build my presence on YouTube like everyone else and their brother. But if you do take a look at, if you do take a look at my YouTube site, which is basically the same thing as TikTok, except it has all the graphs and charts on it. And that's basically on YouTube. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm also have a page on LinkedIn. I'm just putting it up there too. So hopefully I'll be approved for LinkedIn Live soon, and that would be very, very cool. So that is a very interesting comment about TikTok. So and I just don't know. Any Canadian winners you would recommend? Yes, there are. Hey, thanks for looking me on Facebook. Thanks for finding me on Facebook. I really like Facebook. Oh, by the way, no surprise here, but Facebook just crushed it. It's true. I mean, a lot of people they don't like Zuckerberg, and they have issues, and that's okay. I mean, hey, they're a big company, but Facebook crushed it, and their stock price is reflecting it. So the two things that are really pushing up the NASDAQ right now are Facebook, FB, and of course Apple, AAPL. So I do have a Canadian winner here, and I want to show you this Canadian winner because there's a lot of great stocks in Canada. Now, the Canadian stock market, typically there's several markets in Canada. Of course, there's the Toronto Exchange. Everybody knows that was a great exchange. And then there's the Vancouver Exchange, which is kind of like penny stocks. I don't know if you really want to look at stocks that were just listed on there because they tend to not do that well. But a lot of the Canadian stocks, of course, are co-listed on the NASDAQ, and some of them are on the big board, the New York Stock Exchange. So I want to show you this one that I really like right now. It's KL, Kirkland Lake Gold, and it is a Canadian company. So it is available, I think, on the Toronto Exchange too. It's up strongly today. So let me just show you a chart of Kirkland Lake Gold. Now, so there we go. A little bit of lag here. I'm getting this down a little bit more better. Very nice up today. $3.84 as we speak. You can see it move. It's got a composite rating of a 99. So there is a lot of interest in the gold areas. Now, let me caution you just a tad. This has moved above a pivot here, which is a good thing because the pivot is about, on Kirkland Lakes, the pivot typically is about 50, and it's moved up to about 54. So it's still in the buy range. But if it moves a little bit too more above this, you're going to have to wait for another pivot. I do think this is going to move higher. It's up $7.71 today. So quite a good stock. I'm not in it currently, but probably I'm going to rotate to a position into this when I sell some of my Teladoc today. I probably will rotate into Kirkland. I think it's really good, and it's very well run, and they have positions both in Canada and in Australia. Most of the production is in Australia, but it is a Canadian company, and it's absolutely top rated with a 99. There's another potential one, a South African company, symbol is AU. But if you want to stick to Canada, and some of the very best mining companies are out of Canada, so this is one you want to look at. There's another one, another Canadian firm that is also just stellar in terms of its performance, and that's FNV, Franklin Nevada Gold. And it's not really a mining company; it's a company that has positions in successful mining companies. So kind of a cool thing. So I appreciate that question a lot. Let's see if I can get somebody from TikTok. So hopefully I'm going to look here. Here we go. Any thoughts on silver and gold? Well, I am one who believes very strongly that we're going to see, some action in the silver and gold market. It's kind of been asleep for a long, long time. It pushed through a key level, which was 1880, and currently it is moving higher. I'm not one who believes in holding the physical gold or the silver. I know that's a surprise to most people because when you listen on the radio, they say, well, this is gold, silver, and it's wonderful, and it is. I do have some gold coins, and I do have some silver as well. So, but I don't invest in it really. The investment is in the companies that make it, and the people that make it are, well, of course, it was made by God. We all know that, but the people that bring it to the surface, the miners, those are the ones that you want to invest in. Now, there's a lot of gold mining companies. It's like oil and gas. There's a ton of companies. Some are excellent and some not so much. But there are two companies that I think you really should look at in the mining space. And one is KL, of course, I just showed you that. And then also, I think that Franklin Nevada FNV is another one you want to look at. Now, and I have two other ones that I just want to bring up. And that is a cheap one. And this is more of a crapshoot, so you got to be careful with this one. Is BTG? It's B2 Gold is the name of the company. They're a miner. It's a Canadian company, but their production, believe it or not, is in the Philippines and Nicaragua, of all places. But they actually do have real gold mines. It's a for real company, and they're very top rated. Also, I think that you might want to take a look, if you're into the gold and silver kind of thing, at a company called Anglo Ashanti. It is a South African company. The symbol is AU, and I think it's a very, very top-rated, good company. And because the rand is not doing too well as a currency, it's very favorable to buy shares of that stock, and it's very top-rated. I mean, it's like it's one of the really good gold mining companies in the world, and it basically has their mines in and around Johannesburg. So that's if you're into the gold and silver things. So I think it's pretty good as well. Hey man, let's see. Tesla is going down. Is a good buy. You know what? I have Tesla. I am not selling my Tesla, but I am selling the call options against my Tesla. I still think Tesla is, maybe I'm under the spell of Elon Musk. I don't know, but I do think it is the future. I do think that I do think it's not necessarily a bad time to be buying Tesla. Now it's true. Everybody is saying there was an alternate buy point, and I talked about this about a month ago. Well, more than that now. I showed my analysis on that buy point at basically 1,000. I was a buyer at basically 997, and then it popped up to about 1,600. It's moved back down. I think it's going to move in a range for a while until there's some big news, which I think they're going to have next quarter, from about 1,350 on up to about 1,550. But let's take a quick just gander at how it is trading today. This is Tesla. TSLA is the symbol, of course. And here's the thing interesting about Tesla. They have had their fourth quarter of profits, which even though it's down today, and I'll show you, it is definitely down today. I do think that it's going to be trading up. And the reason I do think it's going to be trading up is very simple reason. This stock is going to go into the S&P 500, and it's going to be a major component of it. So it's not currently in the S&P 500, but if it does go into it will go. It actually will go to the S&P 500. When that happens, all of the index funds are going to have to buy it because they're going to have a dollar-weighted average of this in their index funds. So I am bullish on Tesla. I absolutely bullish on Tesla just for technical reasons, having nothing to do with the production of the vehicle. But the vehicle, I am bullish on as well, because I do think that once people understand that electric vehicles are much more cost efficient to own and operate than actual internal combustion engines, I think you're going to see it's just not going to be a small movement to electric cars. It's going to be kind of like a stampede. And right now we don't have all of the infrastructure in place, but there are some. But when it gets in place, it's going to be a big thing. So I just want to kind of show you this chart. This is the daily chart, but let's look at the weekly chart, because that's a really good idea to kind of get an idea of where we need to be on that. So as you can see, at about the 1,000 level, I'm trying to point to it right there, that's when we kind of move to this upper level. Now you can see we're in this trading range from about 1350 up to about 1550, and that's kind of the area that I'm thinking of. So I don't normally advise people to buy in the dips. This isn't really a dip. This is just really a settling down to the pivot point. But I do think that even though it's down $57 right now at 1430, I think that you might want to consider coming into it, especially if it gets down to about 1350. I think that's going to be you're going to see some firming up there. But typically, here's what happens with the trading on Tesla, because it is such an expensive share. Much of the trading is due to the options trading on it, and typically options the weekly options are always settled on Friday. So typically the stock dips a little bit on Friday, and I think that's what we're seeing here now. We're seeing, basically people are trading out of their positions, so it's causing a bit of downward pressure on the issue. Not a bad time to possibly buy some Tesla, because I do think it is going to continue in this trading range, 1350 to about 1550. So that's kind of my take on it. But it's great stuff, and I don't think you're going to go wrong by buying it. I really don't. But that's, you can all, that thing. Okay, buy Apple now or wait to settle. Well, this is okay. Well, if you have options, here's the thing about Apple. I should get this out of my trade alerts, but I do have a kind of a quick idea of how to trade Tesla, how to trade Apple. I've been going through my charts and trying to put together something. So maybe I can pull it up on the screen. I don't know if I can get it on the screen, but let me see if I can pull it up. Well, I don't think I can. Here's the thing. If you're signed up for the trade alerts, I'm going to be sending this out, and then possibly I can get a link for you. But basically, when a stock is announced for a split, it moves into a very specific pattern. And that's what I've tried to cover on my presentation on sort of the calendar of when to buy and sell Apple. And, of course, this is how I'm going to do it. It's just kind of a guideline for you. You might want to, look at, see if it's something that you're interested in. But typically the way it works is that when a stock split is announced, it goes in, there's a 5-phase program. Phase 1 basically is the announcement. Of course, we're past that. Phase 2 is when it's been announced, and typically it will move up. We just had that today. After hours, Apple, of course, moved much higher very quickly. It moved up almost $24 from its close at $384 yesterday. This typically will continue, the upward motion will continue typically for probably another day or two, and then you're going to see a little bit of a dip probably. This is typically the pattern. It doesn't always follow, but it's pretty close on most of them. You're going to see a little bit of a dip. It's going to move down as people take profits. Then as we get closer to the split date, which is the 31st, you're going to see it start to move back up. So you might want to wait. If you're not in the stock currently, you might want to wait. You might want to wait a little bit, and maybe about Tuesday or Thursday time frame. And I'm going to cover this in my PowerPoint. Tuesday or Thursday time frame. You might see it a little bit of a dip there, and then I would be buyer. And typically, what you do is you hold this stock until the day before it splits, which is the 31st. You sell it on August. On August 30th. That's typically its high point. It'll split. Then people will take profits, and then as it moves down from the profit taking, that's when you rebuy it. You rebuy it on the other side of the split. So you buy it, you hold it up until about a day before the split. You sell it. That's typically the high. It splits, and then typically there's profit taking. It retreats, and then you go and you buy the shares about 2 or 3 days later, and typically that gives you a good profit. So anyways, all right, made more of that. Trading KL. Awesome, Grandpa Paul. Hey, if you could send me a thank you note, I would appreciate that. I'm trying to build up my street cred, so I appreciate that, Grandpa Paul. You know what? Here's the thing. This has actually happened to me. I was a financial analyst, and I worked for some of the big companies, and I had I was good at it. That was a good job. But, I did contract work and stuff like that. Well, I would trade stocks and basically at lunch. And a few years ago, it got to the point where I was making more money. And I'm not just saying this because this is actually true. I mean, I'm not like one of these real estate guys that, tells you that, no money. I'm not the no money down seminar guy. I was actually making more money trading Microsoft than I was trading, than I was working at my job. And I was very well paid too. So I figured, well, a few years ago, well, I'll just get, I'll just try to, trade stocks. And then I boned up on a lot of stuff. I got a lot better. It's all about practice. That's really it is. And there you go. So I'm so glad that you got Grandpa Paul. I think it's awesome that you made more money trading KL this week. Now, doesn't that feel good? I mean, this isn't work. Work is when you're digging ditches, and I've done that in my life. Trust me, I've done that. This is not work. This is fun. And if you follow the market and you apply some techniques, you can too, have fun too, all the time, making money. So you don't make money all the time, but you make right. This market is really, really good. Now, will this market continue forever? Probably not. I just want to be upfront. This is a tremendously good market right now, but this is a time to get in it and to make some money, because it's not going to last forever, and the market's going to change. They always do. But right now, there's a lot of money to be made in the market. I mean, there may not be a lot of money to be made if you're in retail sales, but there's a lot of money to be made in the stock market right now, and just about anybody can do it. So it's just a question of learning the basics and following through. And thanks for that comment so much. Is it a time to buy Apple? Well, Stock Doc, I hope that you're on my email list, because I think it is. I do think I do. Here's what I'm going to say about Apple. Basically, when you have a stock split announcement like this, it goes through 5 phases. Phase 1 is basically the pre-announcement, and we're past that. Phase 2 is the announcement date. Oops, someone just cricked my back. Is the announcement date. And at the announcement date, that's typically when it announces, that's when it moves up fast. That's what happened this morning. This morning, when I heard the announcement, pretty much 30 minutes after the open, I was a buyer. Okay. So I'm going to probably hold this maybe for 2 or 3 days. It'll probably continue up. I then may sell my position because once the excitement gets mixed in there, it's probably going to decline a little bit, but it's not going to decline for too long because then people are going to start to discover that, hey, it's a 4-to-1 split, so they're going to start buying it. So I will probably, if I don't sell my position today, I probably will either sell my position in a few days and wait for it to retreat a little bit, or possibly add to my position. Probably I'm going to add to my position in this case. So then from that level, that's the phase 3. From phase 3 to phase 4. Phase 4 is actually the split itself, and that's going to happen on the August 31st. The apogee of the travel of the stock price typically is 1 day before the stock splits. So what you do is you hold the stock until about 1 day before, you sell it, you let it split, and then people will take profits, and then about 4 days or 5 days later, after the weekend, about Thursday or so, maybe Wednesday or so, you come back in the market and you buy the stocks again, because that way you can get it, because a stock that's splitting, especially a stock like Apple, it's going to continue on its upward trajectory, because once it gets down to a trading range of about the $100 range, you're going to see a ton of people pile into the stock because, frankly, it's been too expensive. I mean, to buy 100 shares, it's a lot. You got to have 40,000, basically. It's a lot. But if you could buy 25 shares right now, that's a $10,000 investment. Boom, you're going to have 100. And that's kind of a good deal, because once you have 100 shares, then you can sell covered calls and make weekly income off of it. So kind of cool. Kind of cool stuff. All right. Alpha, APHA. Let's take a look at that chart. APHA. Oh, APHA. Yeah, very good. Cool. Let's give me. All right, there we go. It's down a little bit. This is okay. This is an interesting chart. Canadian company that produces and sells medical cannabis. No. Oh man, I hate to be so, don't like it kind of thing, but thanks for this question. I do not like the medical cannabis area, and the reason I don't is not because I'm against medical cannabis. I'm certainly not. 3 years ago, I was trading an ETF called MJ, and I did very, very well in it. But I've been out of it for over 3 years now. About 2.5, 3 years. Why? Because here's the problem with cannabis. There's way too much supply and not enough. I mean, in certain places like Oregon and California, there's just tons of legal marijuana that can't be sold because it just isn't the channel for it. So I don't like this business, and because it's got lots of competition, it's got lots of supply, and nobody has any pricing power. So I can't get excited about a company like this. I don't think this is a good buy, and I don't think it's in a good sector either. It's only got a composite rating of 66. It's down today 2.84%, which is only 14 cents, and it's down after hours. Even if I was to buy this, I wouldn't buy it until at least it was at $6 a share. And why? Because you don't want to buy a downward trending chart, and this is a downward trending chart. Now it's true, it's moving up. The 40-day moving average is moving up, which is true, but the price action has collapsed. Now we will see what happens if this red bar drops below the 40-day moving average. This stock is declining. Do you want to buy a declining stock? Do you want to catch a falling knife? Well, this could be one of them. I don't know if it will be. Hopefully it'll have support at this line, but I can't guarantee it. So I would not be doing that. So I would not be doing that. Oh man, you bought some calls on Apple. Nice move, Dave. Nice move. I wish I had. I wish. Now I have. I had a spread on it, but I closed it out. I actually ended up buying the physical shares this morning, but boy, you did a home run. Now, normally buying naked calls could be a higher risk, but boy, when it pays off big, and you certainly deserve a pat on the back for that. That is super. I think you're going to do great on those calls. I think you're going to do fantastic on those calls. So, absolutely. Okay, should you hold it for the weekend? Okay, here's what I think, Dave. And this is sort of a day trader kind of thing. It depends on how what your tolerance is. I do think, and this is just based on the. And by the way, if I was, the reason I came on a little bit late today, I was working on a little bit of a paper on sort of the stages of the stock split. And by the way, that's available on my Action Trade Alerts. I'm going to send that out probably tomorrow after I get somebody to proofread it, because I type these up and sometimes my spelling is horrible, and so I'm trying to get someone to proofread it. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to see the price of Apple possibly by Monday or Tuesday pull off a little bit. So, I mean, if you've got good profit, you might want to sell it, but I might hold it through the weekend. Actually, on this one, I think with Apple, I think with Apple, this one might be one you want to hold. I mean, I normally can't say that. What I would do is I would put a stop loss in there. So if it violated, if it moves 8% down below where you bought it, you possibly want, or 10% really on a call. You possibly want to put a stop loss in there, but I'd hold it. I'd hold it because I do think it's going to go higher. I do think it's going to go higher. And I think you're just going to do great on that. And congrats, man! Congrats. It's exciting to see when people, make good moves like that. Yeah, I mean it is. It's a piece went up. Yeah, it did. The split announcement after the day of the split. Yeah, it's true. Well, again, I when I got in this morning, I was like, I got to buy some Apple, and I did. And I didn't even think I got in that well. I mean, normally I get in much better than that because Apple closed yesterday at 384, and man, by the time I got in this morning and I was punching the buttons, I could only get it at 409, and it's up from there. So go figure. Go figure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a little paper on how we can really benefit from this stock split, because all stock splits typically follow a specific chart pattern, and basically there's 5 phases there's a 5 phase in a movement after a stock split is announced. There's the pre-announcement. We've passed that, and then there's the announcement that was yesterday, and that's typically it's followed by a very fast movement up. Typically, a few days into it after the announcement, there is some profit taking, and so there's sometimes a weakness. I don't even know if we're going to have that with Apple. It's so strong, and then it moves down a little bit, and then people get busy and they do other things, and then basically next week it's probably going to be at its lowest, and then from there it moves all the way up until a day before typically it splits. That's usually when it's at the highest level price wise, is about a day before. That's a good time to sell it. I know this does sound strange to you. That's a good time to sell it, and then let it split, and then after it splits, there are people typically they'll sell off 100 lots, 50 lots, whatever. So that typically keeps a little down pressure on it. And then about 2 to 3 days after it's split, basically about September 3rd timeframe, 4th timeframe, then you want to buy it back, because Apple is probably going to be, once it splits and people are able to get into it at a right price, I just think it's going to go right back up. So I think it's going to bring a lot of investors, especially retail investors, into the stock. So I think it's going to be awesome. And I've put together a little bit of a trading plan, one that I'm going to try to follow, and maybe it might be of interest to you too. I'm going to have that on DallasTradingFloor.com. So just sign up for the free trade alerts, and I'm going to send it out. It's a little PowerPoint of how my plan on trading, put trading Apple. But I am in the stock, so it is going to be a monster, and I think it's not only it does, even if you didn't get in, right away, I I think that we're in for some, it in no way have we missed the boat on it. Okay, there's profit to be made in Apple right now, because anytime you get a stock split announcement with a company like this, there's a lot of room. So, and I just put together a trading plan that might be of interest to some of the people. And of course, if you're on TikTok and you're watching this, to get on the list, I'm going to be blasting it out probably tomorrow. And it's going to be just sign up for the trade alert, and basically that's go to my bio on TikTok, and then just press the link, and it brings up the subscription page. And of course, it's all free, so that's kind of a cool thing. That's kind of a cool deal. All right, so next question from TikTok. Market crash. Well, maybe. I don't know. It might. Okay. Walmart. Is that Walmart? CW. Go ahead and read. Okay. Wow. You got somebody saying market crash. Well, we might have one. I mean, there's some weird stuff going on, obviously. So let's see. I need just one stock that will double my investment next week, like Kodak going from Kodak has been, God, I know Kodak just went ballistic, but it did get, it got that huge contract by the government, and Kodak is sort of a special case. I mean, because it probably really should have never gone bankrupt in the first place, and then when it did, I don't know. It's a weird story. I don't know if you're going to find a Kodak out there. I mean, but it's great. I mean, when you find those jewels, it's just awesome. I don't know if you're going to find a Kodak. I think that there are other stocks though that are going to be good and coming up. And I'm going to try to put together some kind of inexpensive stocks that I think have a real some legs. And one of them is Blink Charging, by the way. That's kind of a cool one. I'm in Blink, by the way. It's interesting because with all these electric vehicles coming out, people are going to have to charge them everywhere. Not everyone's going to have a garage, so I do think that these charging networks, at least for a few years, are going to be a pretty good thing. And do I think $10 is pretty good? I think it is. Now I was in it a little bit. I was in it last week, basically at a cheaper price. I don't know. Did I put a buy alert on it? I don't know if I did. I bought it at $6.40. I guess I've been in it longer than a week. I've been in it about 3 weeks. Because I saw the chart pattern. See, this is the chart pattern that I saw here, and I was basically a buyer right at $6.40 when it cleared this cup here, and then boom, it went up, and looks like it's going to get some love at about $10. So that might be the new floor for Blink. I do think it's possibly going higher. Typically, this is a very early stage company. It's higher risk. I'm not, this isn't an Apple or anything like that, but it's in the early stages. So I think that I wouldn't put a lot of my portfolio in this, but I would, it's a kind of a fun one to do. Retractable is also that way. It's kind of fun. So I mean, don't depend on these stocks for most of your gain, but there's some good stuff that's under $10, believe it or not. So that's kind of cool. All right, so let's see. Live stream. Oh, is it not working too good? You know what? Here's the thing. On my live stream, I'm seeming to having more trouble with TikTok as of late. I don't know why, but if you can't see my live stream, go to and you can maybe, I don't know, you can hear me. Go to YouTube, because it's coming through on YouTube. I've got a good feed on YouTube at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Force. So let's see if we can take another question. Your thoughts on LITE? Look at LITE. Lumenta. Oh yeah. Okay. This is interesting. Oh yeah. Look at that. Wow. Very nice chart. Very nice chart. Very, very, very nice chart. Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, this is a really good one. I don't really have any I don't have any real I don't have any real things to say on it at this moment. I like this chart a lot. This is a very strong chart. Yeah, yeah, it's just cleared. Uh-huh. Yeah, this is a cup. It isn't it and you have strong action here. Yeah, this is a breakout. This it hasn't broken out yet, but this is probably going to break out um probably in the next week. It hasn't broken out yet. It's got a cup, but it looks like it might break out. This one might break out next week. So this is a watch list one if you're not in it right now. This probably is going to, at least for what I can see on it on the chart. And maybe let me pull up a little better chart here on it. Let me see if I can get you some better annotations here, June. Thank you so much for you know for watching today. I'm going to see if I can give you a better idea on this one because this is this is a good one. Let's see. Let me see if I don't know if I have an annotated chart for this. I don't think I do, but let me check. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I do have an annotated chart for this. Thank you very much. It is off a little bit after hours, but let's show the chart on this one, and let's look at it to see if we can find some good action. Okay, there's a cup with handle. That's excellent, and that happened in the March-April time frame. Very nice. Okay, it trended down. This is kind of typical. It trended down a little bit, but it looks like it's regained strength. And of course, the time to start buying it, of course, was when the 21-day moved above the 40-day. So everything is right here. It looks as if, gosh, it's the buy range really is, yeah, it's okay. I think this is buyable. I think there's going to be a pullback probably a little bit, but this is buyable. This is totally buyable. I think we're going to. I would watch this. I would see if it moves, if it settles above 92.88. I would look at that because if it does, then I think it's going to go move higher. I think it may be developing another pivot there. So that would be very cool. Very cool. I'm going to write this one down. LITE. This is definitely a watch list stock. Very good. Thanks for that. I so appreciate it that you brought that to my attention. I wasn't on my radar, but it's going to be on my radar now because that's a very good chart. OOMA. Let's look at OOMA. Let's see if we've got anything there. OOMA. All right. No, it's telecom commuter products. No, this is maybe a watch list, but not buyable at this point. It just isn't. You can see it's dropped. Well, it hasn't quite dropped below the 40-day, but it is trending down. I want to see some support on this. This is a good chart action here with the 40-day crossing the 200-day. I like that, but there's less volume here, so there's less support of it. There is the air is going a little bit. The air is coming out of the tire a little bit. So, anyways, so I would like to tell it to Peter shift. Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Wow. Thank you for that so much, Grandpa Paul. I appreciate it so much. Is Apple a buy now? Well, yeah, it is kind of, but wait for the little paper I'm putting together on it. I think that it might help a little bit in how to buy and that. Now, excuse me on that. I cut off my mic. I do think that we're going to go. Stocks when they split go through this cycle, and I'm going to try to put that together for everybody as well. So let me go back to TikTok here. Live stream is not working. Ooh. Air's coming out of the time. Yeah. Well, it is. It kind of is. Sorry about that. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, here's the thing. Try to buy the best chart patterns you possibly can, because there's so many good chart patterns out there right now. Why buy an average stock when you can buy a great one? And you can right now. You can, and it's just it's exciting when you get a really good one. Is it time to buy pins? Pinterest. Let's look at the chart. That's a good question. Pinterest has been sort of strong as of late. Yeah, look at that chart. Wow, look at that gap up. Okay, God, there's just so much good stuff out there right now. It's just unbelievable. Okay, we have a gap up. And see, this is typically what happens when a stock. You can kind of tell when a stock is getting ready to gap up. What'll happen is you'll get this cupping like this, and then it'll kind of hang out here a little bit, and then if it's really good, you'll get these just massive spikes of volume with a gap up. So yeah, wait for this to settle, because it'll come up and then it'll move down. So this, I would like to see this make another pattern if you're not already in the stock, but something's going on because the volume is just huge. It's 757. As you can see, it's just off the charts, and it's up after hours. I don't know what's happening with Pinterest, but this is a good chart. This is a very, very good chart. And what's especially good about the chart is this bar here, because that shows a lot of conviction. So it looks as if the big boys are moving into the stock, or there may be a merger announcement. I don't know what's going on, but something is definitely worth researching. But I wouldn't necessarily jump in it right now. Don't chase. Here's the thing. When something gaps up, try not to chase it, because that's where you can get into trouble. You can buy it too high. This is the reason why I try to concentrate on these pivot points, because when a stock gaps up, it's sort of like a geyser, and it comes a little bit down. It's not that there's not pressure there, but it moves up and then it moves and it settles. So try not to buy it as it's kind of exploding out of the chart pattern, because you can end up giving up a lot of points. So wait until it settles a little bit, see if there's some support, and then it probably is a buy. But just be a little bit careful when you see a gap up like that, because it can be, it can be kind of disappointing. You get in it and then it moves down, and it's still a really good stock, but that's kind of how they move. They what happens with these really hot stocks is, the balance, the buy sell balance gets in out of balance. And basically the reason that what causes typically a stock to move up like that is what they call the strong holders. Basically, people are refusing to sell the stock for whatever reason. And that's probably because something is happening, like, it's going to get merged into another company, or they've had a terrific announcement. So most of the holders of the stock are just saying, I'm not going to sell. So you're going to really have to bid it high to get it. And of course, people do. They get in the bidding frenzy, and then you're in a situation. Now, another thing that can cause a spike like that is what they call a short cover. And this has happened a lot on Tesla back in the February timeframe. December to February timeframe, this was happening a lot. There was a lot of shorts on Tesla, and then they had to cover their shorts, and that's when it spiked up to the first time it made 960. Now, of course, it's beyond that, but that's kind of typically how it runs. So don't chase a stock up, even if it's really good. It's really hard sometimes, because you're going to have some awesome stocks. Everything's going to be right, and you're going to go, oh my goodness, I missed it. Well, here's the thing. Right now in this market, if you have the right setup in this market, there are good opportunities in this market. So okay, and this is the Biotech Pro shares. So this is a little bit different animal, because the BIB here, this is the Biotech, and then there's another one I want to show you called the IBB, which I think you should look at as well. This ETFs trade a little bit differently than individual stocks, in that with ETFs, they typically buying on the dips is not a bad strategy with an ETF. Now, with a stock, it's a bad strategy, but with an ETF, it could be a very good strategy, because they hold a basket of stocks. I'd like to see this thing firm up here a little bit. I'm not sure that I would be a buyer of the BIB, but let's take a look at another one called the IBB, which is another ETF. It's kind of a similar idea, IBB. And let's see if we can see if that's a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty much the same chart. This is the iShares. I particularly like the iShares ETF products, but same idea, kind of the same kind of thing. Now, here's the thing. I want to see it get firm on the 40-day line. There's been some selling here, so here's when I try to enter a stock, I use the daily chart, and I watch to see is it going to bounce off of the 40-day moving average with heavy volume. That's typically what I want to do. I want to buy it on an upstroke as the thing is moving higher, typically bouncing off of an average line here. So I wouldn't. This is still really good. If I was going to go into the market today, I wouldn't buy it. I would wait until I saw some firmness to see which way it's going to go. If it was going to hold the line here, it doesn't look like it looks probably on Monday you're going to see it move right back up to this average. If it does, and then there's high volume, then that's when you want to buy. So sort of tactical more than anything else, but very, very interesting. Oh, hey, good question. Thank you for this, and thanks for watching me on. I so appreciate it when you watch me on YouTube. If you could like me on there, that would be great. On YouTube, if you could subscribe and like me, because that does help me a lot. Elon talked about nickel. Okay, why is he talking about nickel? Well, this is really good question. Thank you for this, K-Bird. Batteries, even though they're called lithium-ion batteries and they're related to lithium, lithium isn't the main component. It's nickel. Nickel is the main component. Now, there are nickel mines, of course, in South Africa, as well as Canada. There's a company that's very famous, a Canadian company called International Nickel. That's the name of it. I do think that there is going to be some interest in the mining space. The mining space as a sector has moved up tremendously in the last few months, because we are going to see a fundamental change in the way we do transportation. So you're going to see things like nickel, and you're going to see some of these elements become much more valuable because we're going to be building a lot of batteries. That's the real issue, and that's where Tesla really has the lead on everybody else, is that they do have better battery technology right now. They're about 2 to 3 years ahead of the pack, and that's a big deal. And so nickel is a very, very important component in that. Now, there used to be a company called International Nickel. Let me see if I can find a symbol for that. Okay, let me see if I can find that. I think they're based in Toronto. Yeah, International Nickel. What is this symbol on them? Where is the symbol? Okay, let's see if I can bring out a chart on International Nickel. It's a no, I can't. I don't even know if it's traded anymore. I wonder about that. So I can't tell you. That company may not exist anymore. Let me see if it does. But it's a Canadian company. And Canada is a major. Okay. Future slip. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So no, I can't really give you a name for a, but there is Freeport-McMoRan, which is a big mining concern, and they do mine nickel, and that's another one that you might want to look at. I don't know if a pure play on that. I'm going to have to do some research. That's a good question for nickel, because it will become increasingly important as an element. It largely, it was very important through the 50s and 60s, and then a lot of these things were replaced with other, with polycarbonates and stuff like that. But now I think with the batteries, I think we're going to see nickel come back in again. And I think it's important that it's interesting that Elon Musk talked about it, because this is a major component of their battery technology. So that's very, very interesting. The point that you brought up. Should I get into the TQQQ? Well, I would say no. And here's why. Here's why I wouldn't be in the TQQQ. There's the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100 stocks. And then there's the SQQQ, which is the basically it's a short of the index of the QQQ, 3-to-1. And that's the one when you expect the NASDAQ 100 to go down, that's what you buy. Now, I bought on Friday a week ago. I thought the market was going to change, so I put a small position as a hedge. But when the Qs showed strength, boom, I was out of that. The TQQQ is the opposite of that. Every time, for every 1 point that the Qs go up, typically the TQQQ will go up 3 points. But I wouldn't be in it, because I do think that we are in kind of a, not really doldrums, but I think the trading range, it's not going to be moving up quite as fast, because a lot of the companies that don't have revenue right now, like the airline, stuff like that, they're going to weigh heavily on the S&P, but some of these are in the NASDAQ as well. And I do think that, I don't know if we're going to, I can't for certain say that we're going to continue to see this upward movement on the QQQ. Now, I don't think the NASDAQ 100 is going to collapse. I don't think it is, because there's so much liquidity in the market. But I don't know if we're going to continue to accelerate on the path that we've been on. So I couldn't recommend the TQQQ at this time. Try, if you want to go into the, you want to buy the index, I would just get the Qs. I would just recommend buying the Qs at this point, not the leveraged index, because I just don't know how it's going to trade. I just don't know how it's going to trade. All right. Apple versus AMD, which is a better buy next week. I don't think there's any question in this. It's so much Apple that it's not funny. Not that I don't like AMD. I like AMD, and it's a great company. But Apple is like going to be the first probably $2 billion company in the world. Apple running away with it. Apple running away with it. And by the way, for everybody out there, I'm putting together an Apple trading strategy, and it's available on my list, DallasTradingFloor.com. And also, if you're watching on TikTok, just go to my profile, hit the link, and you'll be taken right to the subscribe page. Well, I've been on here for an hour, and I really appreciate it. It's Friday. Hopefully, everybody, I hope, I would say go out and have a great weekend. I'm going to try to have it, but, with this COVID thing, I mean, running around with a mask, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, I will be back on Monday. Now, for everybody that's on the trade alerts, I'm going to have this available, so it's all for free. So, but you got to be signed up. That's the main thing, because I'm gonna probably launch this thing. I'm going to put this thing out probably about 10 or 11 o'clock tomorrow, which is Saturday. I'm gonna push the button on it and put it out there. So you got to be on the list. You got to be subscribed before that, or you won't get it. So the best way to do that is to just, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, is basically to just go to the just go to Dallas Trading Floor, and then it just says subscribe, just first and last name, and then an email, and then boom, you're on the list. It's free, and we'll get it out to you. Also, if you're on TikTok, I've got this thing linked to my profile, so you just go to my profile, you hit the link, and it takes you right to the sign-up page for the trade alert. Thanks, everybody. Great, happy trading, and I will see you at 2:30 Central on Monday.